You've heard about AI shaking up the art world. Galleries are getting nervous, illustrators are side-eyeing Midjourney, filmmakers are wondering if their next editor is going to be an algorithm. But let's pivot from the panic to the practical, because right now, whether you're a painter, musician, filmmaker, or comic book artist, there are AI tools out there that could either save you hours of grunt work or, depending on how you see it, quietly take your job while you're sipping on your coffee. So today we're diving into the best AI tools for designers in 2025. Not just the flashy ones you've already scrolled past on Instagram, but the ones that are actively reshaping how creative work gets made. Think of this as your survival guide, your toolkit, and maybe your warning label all rolled into one. So even if you're not a fan and you don't understand it, take a quick look at what there is to offer. Stick around, we're going to look it through. First off is Midjourney. Let's start with the elephant in the gallery. If you've been anywhere near design Twitter, X, you've probably seen people dropping AI generated art that looks like it belongs on a movie poster or a magazine cover. They even have little AI comic books. Midjourney's latest version, V7, is sharper, cleaner, and frankly a little unsettling in how good it's become. For visual designers, it's like having an intern who never sleeps, and can mock up 100 ideas overnight. If you need a concept sketch, it's done. A mood board for a client, it's instant. But here's the rub. If you're an illustrator trying to build a career, Midjourney is both your best friend and your worst enemy. It can jumpstart creativity for sure, but it also floods the internet with look-alike content, and that means standing out is even harder than ever. But the question becomes, do you as a collaborator, or do you as a competitor enter the ring? The next feature is number 2, Adobe Firefly. Now, Adobe isn't all about sitting back and letting Midjourney eat their lunch either. So enter Firefly. This is Adobe's generative AI system. It is baked right into the Photoshop and Illustrator programs on the subscription model. And the killer feature is something called Generative Fill. Imagine circling part of a photo and just typing, "Make this a leather chair" instead of a beanbag. And it swaps it out, matches the lighting, the perspective, and suddenly your client thinks you've spent hours staging a photo shoot. So for pros, this is revolutionary because it speeds up the boring parts of design. Background removals, object swaps, texture fills, and all the stuff you hate doing by hand. It's not really an artistic loss, it's a gain in productivity. But there's a subtle danger here too. If design work becomes about pushing prompts instead of mastering tools, what happens to the craft? Does the next generation of designers still learn composition, or do they just become AI wranglers? It's a question Adobe hasn't really answered, but they're betting you'll be too addicted to the convenience to care. And some people have been pushing back, but people always push back on Adobe's changes, so we will see how that all fleshes out. Number 3, Canva Magic Studio. On the flip side, let's talk about Canva. This is the tool that every small business owner, Instagram marketer, and TikTok shop already loves or uses. You've probably heard about it. And now with Magic Studio, Canva basically turns itself into an AI-powered digital assistant. So it suggests layouts, generates social media posts, or even writes copy for you. So if Adobe Firefly is the Ferrari for creative posts, Canva's your Uber. It's fast, it's accessible, it's built for people who don't really care about the horsepower of it. They just need to get to the meeting on time. There's a lot that you can do on the free model at Canva, and the pro subscription is pretty cheap itself and offers a lot more. So for freelancers and indie creators, that accessibility matters. I know that I use it often. Not everyone can afford a Creative Cloud subscription. That's the Adobe Firefly set. But here's the tension. By lowering the barrier so much, Canva also risks flooding the world with more cookie-cutter designs. So if everyone uses the same templates and AI suggestions, are we going to head for a future where all ads, flyers, and logos look alike, kind of the same? Possibly, but then you as a marketer know exactly what you need to do to stand out, not use the same ideas. Always the same thing over and over again. Number 4, Figma, but with AI plugins. So now if you're a UX or product designer, you've probably already heard of Figma. And this year, AI plugins have turned into something closer to a mind-reading assistant. So Figma is another platform that's similar to Canva, but a little bit better. It's a midpoint between the Photoshops and that, and a lot of people loved it. There's plugins like Coco.ai, QOQO.ai, which will spin up wireframes just from a text prompt. So Attention Insight predicts how users' eyes will move across your design, basically letting you A/B test a product before it even exists. So down to how people will view the actual image, the thing that you create, where they'll start, where they'll go, how their eyes guide. That's wild. So that is incredible, but it also raises a strange question. If AI can predict user behavior better than your intuition, does the designer become more of a traffic cop than an architect? So still, if you're on a tight sprint, these tools can save you weeks. But for startups, that's the difference between launching and folding. So it's going to end up becoming a question about can you survive versus what is authentic. And I'm sure a lot of people will take that bait. Number 5, Chroma with a K. So color theory nerds, this one's for you. Chroma is an AI color palette generator that actually learns your preferences as you go. So feed it the palettes that you do like, and it'll start spitting out a whole bunch of endless combinations in your style. So it's like Spotify's Discover Weekly, but just solely for colors. So that's a game changer for comic artists, for example, or brand designers, or even filmmakers who want to have a consistency in their visual language, especially through generations where consistency is kind of difficult. But again, the double-edged sword is when the algorithm is making aesthetic choices for you, are you discovering something new or just circling back to what the machine thinks you already liked, and you're getting yourself another echo chamber, which is usually problematic in creative arts. So that's something to consider, but again, tools have limits. Number 6, Recraft. Think of it as Midjourney's more professional cousin. Instead of going wild with fantasy art, it's tuned for cinematic quality images and brand consistent output. So that's big for marketers because it means you can generate campaign ready visuals without having 5 different contractors, all subcontracting, sending out prototypes left and right. So for storytellers, it's going to mean you can mock up a pitch deck that can actually look like a Netflix poster right off the bat. But creatives should pay attention because this isn't just a toy. Recraft is aiming at the enterprise level, and that means the tools you used to rely on for freelance gigs may soon be baked into corporate workflows. That's fun. If you're a designer who made rent designing banner ads or marketing visuals, you're going to be competing directly with the machine now, like the rest of us. Number 7, Isotope Ozone 12. Let's not forget about the audio world. Isotope Ozone 12 is the latest in AI-driven mastering tools for musicians and sound designers. I use it inside of my Logic Pro setup when I do my recording, non-AI recording. And normally, mastering is that dark art at the end of music production, the part where you either pay a specialist or you spend endless nights tweaking EQ curves and you never actually release your music like myself. But Ozone 12 handles the things like stem EQ and something called the unlimiter, giving you professional level sound almost instantly. So for indie musicians, again, it's going to be liberating. So if you don't have a budget, it's not going to be a problem. You can release something polished that competes with major label sound just based off one plug-in payment. But a professional mastering engineer, so they might be sweating a little bit because if Ozone can do 80% of the job at the click of a button, what happens to the people who have spent decades training their ears? But I believe there'll still be an aura around the mastering engineer because it's already but there's already an aura of the final touch at the end that nobody can put their finger on. So I believe we'll still have that, and we'll just have both, this and that can happen. Alright, so that's the lineup, folks, to begin with. Midjourney, Firefly, Canva Magic Studio, Figma's AI plugins, Chroma, Recraft, and Isotope Ozone 12. Together they can paint a picture of what design looks like in 2025 and beyond. It's going to be faster, cheaper, more accessible, but also maybe a little bit homogenized. And that's the tension we'll keep coming back to on this show. AI doesn't just save us time, it's going to reshape what creativity means. And if anyone can make a poster, a track, a brand identity in seconds, then the value shifts. Maybe we need even more value. So the question for artists isn't, should I use these tools? It's, how do I make my work stand out in a world where everyone's got the same superpowers? That's not a bug in the system, that's the new challenge. And if history tells us anything, whether it was in the printing press, photography, Photoshop, electricity, the artists who figure out how to bend the machine to their will are the ones who end up winning. It will always be the same, folks. All right,